Welcome to How Do I AI, where we explore practical tips for using AI to create personalized instruction and complete time consuming tasks in just a few clicks. I'm Elena, a K 12 educator, a dyslexia provider, and a doctoral candidate in neuroeducation at Johns Hopkins University. This video will explore how we can use ChatGPT to customize instruction with data from psychoeducational evaluations. When working with neurodivergent students, we often come across evaluations that were used to either determine eligibility for special education services or to understand the student's cognitive, psychological, and learning needs. These evaluations bring so much data, but unfortunately, we may not always know how to interpret the scores and turn this data into instruction. ChatGPT can help with that. With just a few clicks, scale scores and percentiles can inform decisions about differentiated materials and help us deliver instruction that addresses our students' needs with greater precision. You will need a free or paid ChatGPT account, some data from a psychoeducational evaluation, as well as student-specific knowledge that will later drive your decisions. These are the steps I recommend you take when you do this work. Let's dive in. Okay, so first, what do I want to know? I want to know what cognitive skills impact my students' achievement. Why are they struggling? What are their cognitive strengths and which ones are a challenge? How can I support them better so they can improve faster? Next, de-identify the data. Never upload the evaluation documents or any other documents that contain identifiers such as the students' names, date of birth, addresses, or schools. Using the summary tables that are found at the end of evaluations is a good way to protect the student's privacy since those usually do not include any identifiers. If they do, just cut it, delete it, just don't use it. Here I am using a sample table, and as you can see, my students' total achievement is below average, mathematics is below average, written expression is below average, and so is spelling and essay composition. Oh, and sentence composition as well. And so I want to know why. This is a table from the Wechsler Intelligence Test, which is an IQ test. I can see that 3 areas are average and 4 are showing as low average, but I am not sure what exactly do these subtests measure and how is that impacting my students' academic underachievement. And now it is time to create the prompt. The prompt is the question or directions you give ChatGPT to guide its response. So my initial prompt says, I need help with creating customized instruction for a student who had a psychoeducational evaluation. I will provide some information from the evaluation. Are you ready? And then it says, yes, I'm ready. Please share the information from the evaluation and I'll help you create customized instruction. I am telling ChatGPT what am I working on, but making it clear that I wanted to wait for the data before giving me a response. Next, I'll upload the 2 tables with the scores from my computer, and I'll say, here are the tables. Summarize your observations for each table separately. Then I'll hit the upward pointing arrow and let's see what it will do with that. Okay, time to evaluate the output. The output is the response, text, or result generated by the AI based on the prompt or the input provided. Okay, so it is doing a great job first summarizing the achievement scores. It is giving me a list of each subject with its subtest percentiles and ranks, and then follows up with briefly explaining what these scores mean for the student's achievement. Then it summarizes the IQ test scores using the same format. Make sure that you compare the scores from the original tables with what ChatGPT extracted from the documents to ensure that it's all correct. In this case here, all scores were extracted correctly. It put it all together in a strengths and challenges summary list. After we have evaluated the first output, then we repeat as needed. It's time to decide what else do you need to know, then create another prompt and evaluate that output, and go through the cycle as many times as you need. My noticings here are twofold. First, do these strengths and challenges sound like my student? And second, what do I want to do next? I can choose from the two possible prompts suggested by the AI based on the first challenges bullet and focus on problem solving or improving writing. Or I can ask, how can I help the student improve verbal or nonverbal abstract reasoning based on the second challenges bullet? I clicked the what strategies address math problem solving suggestion since my students' problem solving score was their lowest. Okay, so let's see what we get. The first suggestion addresses scaffolding word problem solving in a step by step way with an acronym and a checklist with self monitoring guiding questions. Then we get use of visuals and manipulatives, explicit teaching and guided modeling, which I already do, and it goes on for a total of 10 suggestions. I am evaluating this output against my student specific knowledge and my current pedagogical practices and needs. So, since my student often gets stuck on what step to do next when working with word problems, I'll go back to the first suggestion. I think the acronym would be a good strategy for my student, but so is the self questioning checklist. Let's see if I can combine these. I'll highlight both strategies and click on the quotation mark that appears above. This adds the text to the prompt window and signals ChatGPT that the prompt I give next is related to this text only. My prompt asks, can you create these checklists? I am also asking for a printable PDF, and since in the past it has created checklists for me with bulleted points instead of checkboxes, I am explicitly asking for small squares in front of each item. Let's see what we get. You scroll past the code, and here is the link with the downloadable PDF. You click it, and the document gets into your downloads folder. Here is what we got. It looks okay, but only the first step is bold. So I'll ask it to make the font larger and bold the main steps. Scroll past the code, find the link, and download the revised checklist. Way better. Looks great. I have few other students that can benefit from this checklist, and some have limited English proficiency, so let's ask for a Spanish translation. Scroll past the code, find the link, download the document, and this looks fantastic. All the steps are there, the font looks fine, and now only if we had some word problems that my students can practice with, that would have been perfect. So let's ask for some. I am going to be as detailed as I can with my prompt here. I'll specify what grade level and how many problems do I want, what numbers and what operations do I want the problems to have, and I'll even ask for an answer key. I can also specify the topics of the problems based on my students' interests because that will foster engagement and boost comprehension. Okay, let's see what we get this time. Okay, we have 10 problems on the topics I asked, and the instructions for the numbers and operations were followed. The answer key looks great too. I will ask for a PDF, and I don't like the headings that it included, so I will ask for those to be removed. Here is the revised version. And it looks good, but I'll ask for the font to be a little bigger. And the page seems a little busy to me, so I'll ask that each problem is separated with a line. Then I'll hit the upward arrow and scroll past the code, find the link, and download the revised document. Let's see what we got this time. Perfect. Larger font, and each problem is separated with a line. Let's translate these into Spanish too. And here is the set in Spanish. Let's check it. Everything looks good. The last step is to decide if, when, and how you want to integrate the instructional materials you've asked ChatGPT to create. A word of caution: ChatGPT is a useful tool, but it is not always accurate, so always make sure you have the final say by rereading and checking all output. Thank you for your time and attention. If you enjoyed this video and or found it useful, please subscribe and follow How Do I AI for more micro tutorials on ways we can harness AI's potential for making our work as educators a little bit easier.